everybody and welcome to Junior String Class. So today we are going to work on 3 areas of our string playing, and I had the joy yesterday of sitting in the theory classes with all of you, with my daughter B. And it was absolutely lovely to see what you were learning in all your other classes that I don't normally get a chance to go into. So what I thought in string classes that actually we cover some of the same things that you've been doing in theory and in oral in a practical way with our instruments, so that we can sort of join up our learning and use this time to our advantage. So the 3 main things that we're going to be doing today, we're going to do a warm-up. So we're going to warm up our bodies and we're going to warm up our bowing arms, and often that's something that when we sort of think we've got to just get our practice done, we don't spend enough time doing that. And playing an instrument is a really physical thing, and it's really important that we spend time actually learning how to do that properly. Then we're going to work on some rhythm work. Now in this time when we're playing by ourselves a lot rather than playing in big groups, it can be quite easy to sort of fall into a habit where we're not actually being really strict with ourselves about keeping a steady beat and really keeping our rhythmic work tight. So when we work in ensembles later on, we need to be able to be doing that listening and keeping those listening skills up as well. So we're going to be trying to work on that while you'll be playing with me in an ensemble on the video. And then we're going to work on some pitch. Now I've got a little keyboard along the bottom here, and we're going to be working on some of the stave work that you've been doing in theory, and then translating that onto our string instruments and showing how that then links up with the keyboard. Okay, so first things first, we're going to warm up. Now this is a bit silly, you're going to be in your front room, so I'd like you to all stand up. Okay, you can't see my feet, but make sure they are hip distance apart. Okay, shoulders back and relaxed. Now first we're going to start with our feet. So can you take out your right foot and shake it out for 8 beats? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Transfer, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then go back and get your right foot and circle it for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One way and then the other way. You can hear mine clicking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back the other way, then swap feet, and if you need to hold on to something for your balance, that's fine. 1, 2, oh, another click, 3, 4, 5, back the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so plant them back, hip distance apart. Make sure that your hips, again, you can't quite see me on this one, sort of, you're not arching your back like this, and you're not slouching like this. We get our hips nice and central. Pull your rib cage down a bit so that you've got a really stable, we call this our core. Now you think, well, what has that got to do with our string playing? But actually, if we collapse our core, all of our other muscles don't work properly and we end up getting really bad backache. Okay, so a really strong core is really important. So we have hips, and tuck your hips under, feet hip width apart, tuck your hips under, keep your rib cage down, and then we're going to shrug up our shoulders, roll the shoulder blades back, and try and keep them up and down. So we want a really nice big shape here, okay, not hunched in. Okay, up again, round, and shoulder blades back. But the temptation here will be to collapse at the middle, so keep your middle strong. Once more, up, round, shoulder blades down. Okay, now with this core bit nice and open and strong, we're just going to flop our arms. Okay, so flop them forwards and back, forwards and back. Now try not to bring up your shoulders, and keep your knees nice and soft. So bring up from your knees, that's it. And then we're going to flop round. We do this in choir, I call it my monkey drum move. So the core stays nice and strong and the arms just stay floppy. Now that sort of feeling of heavy floppy arms and relaxed muscles is really important for our string playing. Last thing, neck. We can tend to keep a lot of tension in our jaws and in our neck muscles when we're playing, especially if you're a violinist and you've got everything up here. So we're just going to very gently, we don't go backwards because that can be really, your head's really heavy and you have to not do anything to hurt yourself. So you drop your head forwards, just keep that, remember to keep that core nice and strong, knees bent, drop your neck forwards and roll very gently to one side back to the middle, very gently to the other side. Now you're all very young and probably won't have lots of clicks and clunks in your neck. But mine's making all sorts of noises at the moment. So we just go to one side, take a deep breath in and just reach your hand up and very gently, that's it, you should feel a nice stretch down this side. And release, breathe in again. And drop the head to the other side and then just very gently put your arm weight on your head. Don't pull it hard. Just really relax into that and you feel a nice stretch there. And relax. Okay, so far this has been like a yoga workout, but I do mean it. Doing those sort of physical moves, your body should now feel a bit more alert, a bit more alive and a bit more relaxed, ready to do our violin playing and cello playing and viola playing. Now, I'm going to, because our violins will, and cellos and violas will all be on different pitches, so I'm going to just play a really long A, and I would like you to tune up your instrument to my A. Okay, if you don't feel you've got it yet, you can go back. The tuning section started about 5 minutes in. Okay, I'm going to do a D string now. And then we're going to do a G string. Now, I would suggest when you're tuning, you use, now it's quite hard for you to see, the fine tuners, okay? Unless it's really out of tune, don't touch your pegs. And with your fine tuners, to make it go higher, you're going to turn it clockwise, the same way that a clock goes. And to make it lower, you go anti-clockwise, okay? It's quite hard to do that with the instrument up, so it might be worth listening to my sound, play your note, have a think whether it's high or lower, bring the violin down or the cello, look over, and then either get somebody to help you. Clockwise is higher, anti-clockwise is lower. I'm just going to play you a G. For the violins, an E. And as I said before, if you need to have more time, the tuning started about 5 minutes in, so you can scroll through. I'm just going to go and get a cello now. Okay, so here's one I prepared earlier. I'm just going to make sure that our A is in tune, and if I do it here then you'll be able to see the fine tuners. So then a D. Then a G. I'm not taking as long over this because you could tune to the violin of these notes. And then this is for the violas and the cellos. Here's your C string. Okay, and here are your fine tuners in slightly big, so if we want to make it higher, we go clockwise, and if we want to make it lower, we go anti-clockwise. Okay, right, there we go, 10 minutes exactly, tuning done. So, we've done our physical warm-ups with our bodies. Now it's important that, so I'm sitting down for this so that you're going to be able to see the board and everything, but I would like you for this to be standing. So pelvis tucked under, knees loose, hip width apart, and relax. You should feel sort of the whole of your body should feel sort of alert and alive and ready. Okay, we're going to do some long bows to warm up on some open strings. Now, I would like you first to put your bow on the string at the balance point. Remember, we find the balance point by holding our bow just by the stick, not on the hair, and finding the point where it can balance, as the name would suggest. And this is the point where the bow on the string should feel the lightest, especially for the violinists where we've got gravity on our side, but still cellos it should feel very balanced from here. So it's a nice place to start off. So at that point you can then check your bow hold, okay? For violins, remember we have a lovely bent thumb, okay, that acts as a pivot like a seesaw, okay, and that tucks into the little section between the black bit here and the binding black bit here. There's a little bit of stick that our bent thumb spots into. The fingers then flop over and cuddle the bow, and the little pinky on top is bent so that it can start helping adapt to the weight of the bow in our hand. So again, our arms should feel nice and loose and our hands should feel nice and loose, and the whole point of this warm-up is to start feeling how the bow feels in our hand at the different parts of the bow. Okay, so from this point in the balance point, what I would like you to do is do an up bow very slowly. Doesn't really matter what the sound sounds like at the moment, it's more the physical feeling in your hand that I want you to think about. And we're going to go to the right to the very, very, very heel of the bow. Okay, now when we've got to the heel of the bow, you should feel the weight of the bow on that little finger. So make sure the rest of the hand's nice and loose, and do a little bit of experimenting with that little finger. See if you can make the tip of the bow move up and down. The weight of the bow should be in the string. There we go. And then we're going to pull the bow and we're going to go all the way to the tip. Now, as we get to the tip of the bow, you should feel that the weight of the bow is now on that first finger. Okay, so actually I can take my little finger off. It doesn't do much to do, it doesn't make the bow waggle. The thumb should be pushing up, and the weight of the bow is on the little finger. Now this is going to be slightly different for cellists, okay, but you should still feel a difference in how the weight of the bow feels in your hand at the tip of the bow and at the heel of the bow, okay? Now we're just doing open strings so that we've got enough brain space to think about how the bow's feeling in our hand. But other things we want to think about are the distance that we are going from the bridge. So we call this the sounding point. And what can tend to happen when we're thinking about lots of other things is that our elbow comes back and we tend to drift. Okay, now we can change our sounding points when we're playing if we want to get a different expression, but we also need to be able to choose where we're playing on our string and have the control to make those choices. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just stick on an open string for now. I'm picking the D string. You can choose a different one and create a bit of harmony with me. And we're going to practice doing slow bows. Now we're going to do that with a metronome. Okay, so I've got one here. Mine's very old school. I'm going to set it to 60 beats per minute. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to breathe in for 4 beats before I start. I'm starting right at the heel of the bow. Put the weight of the bow on the string. Feel the weight of the bow in your pinky. Take a breathe in, maybe for 4 beats. And then we're going to try and do an 8-beat bow where we're keeping the distance between the bridge and the sounding point exactly the same, and try and not get quieter as you get to the tip of the bow. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and play. That's it. I decided to go too slow that time, so we're going to make sure we can divide our bow up so we do 8 beats and get right to the tip of the bow. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back. 1, Fantastic. So did you manage to stay the same distance from your bridge? And the reason we breathe in at the start is to give ourselves a little lead, and then we breathe out as we play and breathe in again as needed. Okay, so when you're concentrating on lots of things, it's very easy to hold your breath. So we're going to make it a bit longer this time. We're going to see if we can go to 12 beats. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now have a think. Did you lock your knees? Did you tense your shoulders? Did you do what I did and set off too fast and then realise that you needed a bit longer? I needed to go slower. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 12 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2. Feel the bow in your hand. 5, 6. Feel it. The weight going to the pinky. I was talking, so I wasn't concentrating there. My tone went. Okay, that's 12 beats. Let's see if we can do 16 beats. You can change strings each time or stay on the same string so that you get the feeling of the different tensions you need at the different speeds. So we're going to do 16 beats. All right, are we ready? We're going to breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, if we're noticing things, what I noticed at that slow speed was that when I got to the tip of the bow, I was really having to push in with that first finger to try and keep maintaining the bow, the tone at this slow speed. And what I noticed when I got to the heel of the bow is I was going so slow that the weight of the bow on the string was starting to crack, and I was having to lift some of that weight out so that I could maintain the tone. So that's what these warm-ups are. It's about noticing what is happening without having to think about notes and vibrato and shifting and all of the other things that go on and tuning. We're just doing our open strings. So we're going to do 16 one more time. 16 beats down, 16 beats up. Start right at the heel. Breathe in on the up count. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1. Make sure your sounding point is the same all the way through. The tone is all the way through. Last 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Off. Fantastic. Notice your body. Have you tensed anywhere to try and achieve when all your focus was on your hand? Okay, so that's a really good warm up. I'm going to turn this off. As we go through all the sessions, we're not going to be keeping our down bows and our up bows the same beats. So we might do a slower down bow and a quicker up bow, but try and maintain the same speed, the same tone. So we're going to have to think about all the different things we have to adjust to try and achieve that, because that's what happens in music. We might do a slower up bow and a faster down bow. So we're going to experiment. It's like a sort of painter's palette where you can mix different colours and try and achieve different things. But we're not having to concentrate on the sort of aesthetic of the music at the same time. Warm up is now done. Let me get my pen. Tick. Ooh. Okay, let's go on to some rhythm work. I'm going to put my violin down for this. So, rhythm work. We're going to play a quick game. Don't clap it back. Or don't clap this one back. A lot of you do this in schools. We do this as a warm-up quite often. I'd be like, oh, it's really easy. I can do this. So let's go. We're going to put our metronome back on again. I'm going to have to twist it up. It's a bit of a limpy metronome, this one. It's quite old. Oops. Right, here we go. maybe we'll make it a bit faster so it's not going to limp as much. Okay, 1, 2. So the whole point of this exercise is to be listening out for one particular rhythmic pattern. And it's don't clap this one back. And if we're doing that in rhythm words, it would be ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Okay, so I'm going to cap you lots of different 4-beat rhythms. What I'd like is for you to copy them back to me, so I'll leave you a little echo space, okay? And when I get to don't clap this one back, you have to put your hands up like this and you can shout at me, don't clap this one back, okay? And as we're doing it by ourselves in our living rooms, I won't make you sit out if you get it wrong. You can just keep going and try again, okay? You ready? Ready, steady, off I go. Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you find it? Okay, good. Let's try another one. Did you get it? Fantastic. Okay, so now we've got your ears fixed in. I'm going to turn that one off for the moment. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to do some rhythmic dictation next. So I didn't say this at the start. You can pause the video. Can you go and get yourself 2 sheets? Actually, no, just 1 sheet of A4 paper. Okay, like this. So go and get it now. Pause and come back. And, oh, and a pen. All right. So you're back. You've got your sheet of paper. You've got your pen. Okay, so dictation is where we write down rhythms that we hear. Now, I really like when we're doing rhythm work to use our voice to help us decode what is going on with the rhythm. So this would be ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Now the rhythms I'm going to be doing for you today are going to have tas, titis, and let's do it this way, ta, ti, ti, and then I call them 2 woos. Sometimes some people call them ta-ahs. This is a 2-beat note. Okay, now when we're doing dictation, it's quite a good idea not to bother putting in all the little blobs because it takes ages. So a crotchet or a ta is just a line. 2 quavers or a ti is just a line with a little box over it, and the minim I do write out like this. Okay. When you're doing it on your paper, you'll notice here, this is why I'm going to write my rhythms up. I've created a grid, and these heart shapes here are beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that I've put a stronger heart at the start. My rhythmic patterns are going to be in the key signature of 4/4. This means that there are 4 beats in the bar, and we're counting in tar beats. And sometimes I like to get rid of that code number and just put this underneath. Wouldn't key time signatures be much more sensible if they were written like that? We're counting 4 crotchet beats in a bar, 4 tar beats in a bar. Okay. So the way that you can create those beats on your piece of paper, can you fold it over like this? Okay. And then we're going to fold it in half again. Okay, you might want to pause the video so you've got to this stage. Yeah, got there. Fold it in half again. Okay, and then we're going to open it out. And what you'll notice is that you now have 4 little beats to write your rhythm dictation in. Okay, so we're going to write the first rhythm on this bit. We can flip it over, write the second rhythm here, and then you can open it up and use the other side. And you can write the third rhythm here and the 4th rhythm here. Okay, now I'm just going to show you how to write a 2-woo in your rhythm grids. So you write it in the one that you get the sound, okay, and then If you want, you can draw a line that goes through, or you can just leave the next one blank. So if I had a rhythm that went to-woo, ta, ta, my rhythm would look like that. Okay? Right. Got it? Good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to clap 4 different rhythmic patterns, okay? And I want you to listen. I'm not going to use the rhythm names, so I want you to listen to what I'm clapping and see if you can fit it into the beats and write them down on your sheets. I'm going to each one 3 times, and then I'll put the answer on the board and you can see if you've got it right. Okay, so let's get our beat going. Okay, so this is my first one. Ready, steady, off I go. And again. Ready, steady, off I go. Alright, have a go at writing it down. I'm going to do it once more. Ready, steady, off I go. Okay, let's have a go at writing this one down. So, the rhythm sounded ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. So we have a ta in this first box, a ti, ti in our second beat, a ta in our third beat, and a ta in our fourth beat. Did you get it? Okay, let's try rhythm B. I'm just going to see if I can slow my metronome down a little bit without it going limpy. Okay. You ready? This is the second rhythm, rhythm B. First time through. Ready, steady, off I go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ready, steady, off I go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Go writing it down. Last time now. Ready, steady, off I go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Okay, let's go writing it down. It's probably better to try and write it down after the second try, and then on the third try, when you hear it again, you can check to see whether you wrote it properly. So the rhythm went ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. So we have ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Okay. If you're thinking this is really, really easy, that's fine. We're going to add in some 2 woos and we're going to see how you go. All right. Pattern C, ready, steady, off I go. Second time, ready, steady, off I go. Try writing it down. Okay, this is the last time for you to check it. Ready, steady, off I go. Okay, so you should be checking whether what you wrote down was right. And I'm gonna clap it with you with the rhythm, a name, so it goes ti, 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 to, woo. So it should have looked something like this. And you could do a little line through there to show that that comes all the way through, or we could just take that out and know that it expands into that bar. If that was going to be a rest, we'd have a symbol for a rest in there. So we know that the 2 beat carries through, okay? And the last one, so first time through, you take a little picture in your mind of the sound that you're hearing. Second time through, you check that picture was right and you try and write it down. Third time through, you read what you've written and you check whether it matches what I'm clapping, okay? Ready, steady, off I go. Take the picture, check it's right. Ready, steady, off I go. Okay, so now try writing it down. listen to it once more, check what you wrote down is correct. Ready, steady, off I go. Do you think you got it right? So now, make any changes if you need to. And now I'm going to say the rhythm words with it. So it goes, tee-tee-too-woo, tee-tee. And your pattern should look something like this. Now if you need to stop at any point in that and sort out your paper and go back and listen to it again and see if you can correct them, then that's absolutely fine. If you sailed through that, that's absolutely fine. I promise they are going to get harder as the weeks go by. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a 16-bar rhythm pattern. So I'm going to clap each rhythm pattern 4 times, okay? And then I'm going to do B 4 times, then I'm going to do C 4 times, then I'm going to do D 4 times. Now what I'd like you to do is pick an order of the rhythms that you want to clap. So you might start with rhythm B, do that 4 times, then you go to rhythm C and you do that 4 times. Then you go to rhythm A and you do that 4 times, then you go to rhythm D and you do that 4 times. But what I want to do is that you always choose a different rhythm pattern than I'm doing, okay? And the reason I'm doing it 4 times is to give you a little bit of fluff factor. If you sort of fudge it a little bit, it gives you time to be able to get into sync with me, with your rhythm pattern, going over the top of what I'm clapping. So what you're doing is going to sound different to mine, but it's going to complement, and so it's going to feel a little bit like ensemble playing. So I'm going to do 4 lots of A, 4 lots of B, 4 lots of C, 4 lots of D, and when we've finished, we're going to put our hands up like this, and we're going to see if we can finish at exactly the same time. I'm going to put the metronome on, and I might actually go over to the other side so that you can see the metronome. Okay, so 16 bars. I'm going to work through them in order. I'd like you to choose a different order and see if you can do it over the top of me. Ready, steady, off I go. And change. And change. And change. Did you get there at the same time as me? Pretty sure you did. Well done, everybody. Okay, fantastic. Now, we're going to do that and put it onto our instruments. So, I'm going to be just using open strings. I'm going to use my open string D. You can follow me and use your open string D. If you want to create a bit of harmony, you can use an open string A. If you want to pick any note that you think is going to sound nice with my D string, that's absolutely fine, okay? We are going to be adding in some more standardised pitches in a second, but for the moment, this is sort of, the main thing we're focusing on is the rhythm. So don't do anything too complicated with the notes that's going to mess up your rhythms, okay? Just a quick proviso on how to do, we call it bow division. When we've got rhythms, we often don't think about how much bow we need for different notes. So I'm just going to do with pattern A, starting around my balance point. I'm not going too near the bridge, not going too near the fingerboard, nice sort of middle tone, okay? And I do ta, ta, and then smaller bows for the T-Ts, T, T, ta. Now, do you notice I call this at my singing point. So to go back again and repeat the rhythm, I'm going to have to do everything in reverse. So I go singing point to balance point, ta, ta, and then smaller bows, T, T, ta, okay? Same for B, we've got ta, T, T, ta, 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 T, T, ta, ta. Now for the next one, ta, ta, T, T, ta, I'm reading them backwards, so it's quite tricky. For rhythm C, we do little bows for the TTs, T, 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 and then we use a lot of bow for the two-woo, two-woo, and we end up right at the tip, so make sure you're not drifting over your fingerboard, your elbows coming forwards, and then we do little to come back. If we're repeating it, we do at the tip, T, 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 and then we come all the way back, and we might come past our balance point nearer the heel. T, 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 two, T, 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 two. Okay, and then again for the D pattern, that's actually a bit more complicated. We do T, T, and then we travel two, making sure we look at our sounding point. T, T, two, T, T. Now we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the clapping. I'm going to do a 16-bar pattern. 4 lots of A, 4 lots of B, 4 lots of C, 4 lots of D. You're going to do a different pattern. So you can do 4 lots of B, 4 lots of A, 4 lots of C, 4 lots of D. If you want to, as I said, you can choose the notes that you're playing. Do not go too complicated straight away. Okay? If you go too complicated straight away, the integrity of your rhythm is going to go out the window. Okay? So you need to pick. You might change note each bar that you're doing. You might experiment with notes that sound nice with mine, but the fundamental bit is that we need to start together, finish together, and you need to change your rhythmic pattern when I say change. So you might stay on a D or an A, open A, exactly the same as me, or you might get a bit more experimental, but you know whether your ensemble is staying good. So I'm going to be on a D, so you can choose notes that go with that. Okay, so 16-bar pattern. I'm starting with rhythm A, so you choose something else. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. There together. Were you in the middle of it thinking, oh, I don't know which I'm going to change to, and oh, I don't know what notes I'm playing? And occasionally when we're doing that, so what we're doing here is a bit of improvisation. It's very structured improvisation, but it's improvisation. We're making it up as we go along. I'm not telling you which order to do things in. I'm not telling you what notes to play. And as musicians, when you are improvising, you can have this slight bubble of panic that I don't know what's coming next. I haven't made a decision yet. I want to get it right, and if it goes wrong, I want to stop. And what I really want you to do, you might run this bit of the video back, is to practice not stopping. And if you fluff a rhythm, doesn't matter, get back into it. If you've tried something too complicated and it's made everything go a bit rocky, go back to something simple, but keep going, get back into the flow. So whilst we're doing a lot of playing on our own at the moment, we can fall into bad habits where we are too kind to ourselves and we don't stop. So we do stop and we let ourselves take way too long over the tricky bits and then speed up in the easy bits. And that is going to be something that we're going to have to correct when we come back together again. So the idea of these videos is to try and help you do that sort of ensemble playing. Now, I've run over a little bit. This is supposed to be a 40-minute lesson, but actually it's normally a 45-minute lesson. So I think we're going to have time just to finish off the last little bit. If you're feeling tired, you can always stop the video, take a break, and then another day come back and finish off the last bit. So I'm going to carry on now, be slightly longer than normal, just because I'm sort of showing the basics of everything we're doing. And okay, so if you're off now, I'll see you later. Do come back for the last little bit, and if you're staying with me, it's probably about another 10 minutes of learning time. Okay. So, hello to those of you that are back after a little break. Well done to those of you who are soldiering on through. So this is a little, we've done the rhythm section, and we're going to look at a little bit of pitch now. This is a recap of what you've been doing in theory. For some of you, this might be really, really simple. You've done it before, you know what you're doing, that's fine. You can sort of skim through this bit. If it's something that you would really like a little bit of practice on and you need a bit of extra help, then keep watching, okay? Don't go make a cup of tea or drink of lemonade at this point. So here I have 2 staves. The staves are 5 lines. Stave. Now in the olden days, staves had 1 line, or no lines, or 2 lines, or 3 lines. And the reason we have the lines is just to try and help orientate our eye so we can see the difference in pitch. You know, if I did something like this, we could do ooh, and we know that we finish higher than we start, but we could all choose a different starting point here. It's not standardised. And so what we have here in our staves is, over the years, people have agreed on a certain way of standardising music. It is not a perfect system. So, in English, when you're learning this and this, why on earth does that make an oo sound there and an sound there? It's not totally logical. There are rules you have to learn, and I'm afraid sometimes you just have to learn them, okay? It's the same with music. So if you sometimes sit in your theory lessons and oral lessons and sometimes your instrumental lessons going, that makes no sense, why? Sometimes I'm afraid we just have to learn the patterns, okay? So there are things to help us. Treble clef. Mary had a lovely way of showing how the treble clef, she said, actually, if you don't remember the rhymes in the right order for treble clef and bass clef, it's just really important to look at the clef because it's there to help you. So in the treble clef, it is actually called a G clef. Okay, so we find the second line up and we put a little dot on it, that is our G, okay? So it's like a big arrow saying, hey guys, this is a G. That's all that funny squiggly thing is, it's like a really big arrow. So we start here and we go round up to the line above, down to the line below. So make like a little circle, okay? If you're right-handed, you're lucky, you get to pull. If you're left-handed, I'm afraid you have to remember to push. Okay, so left-handed people, you might want to go the other way around. Just remember to push first and then you'll go round, okay? Right-handed people, you get to pull. And we go up and round and down. Cool, okay? So that's like a big arrow saying that this second line here, that the whole of this squiggle is based around, is your G. So if you're totally disoriented in a piece of music, you know that's G, and then you can count up A, B, C, D, E, F, or you can count down. F, E, D, C, okay? So that's your G clef. The other clef is your F clef. It's on the second line down. So it's second line up for treble clef, second line down for F clef. We do a little dot. We go up to the line above and squiggle down. And it looks like, as Mary said, half of a heart, which I think is really sweet. And then just so that we're really sure which line it is pointing us to, there's a dot either side of it. So we know where our G is and we know where our F is. Now, you were doing key signatures. Now, we're only going to do C major today, but we will work through C major, G major, D major, and then grade 1 theory, F major is the other one that you need to do. Now, just a little aside, string players, sharp keys are really, really, really easy for you. And I know some of you don't play the piano, so this all feels really foreign and hard and don't really understand where the notes are, but as a string player it's totally easy to do sharp key signatures. So imagine you've got a really amazing string instrument that is a combination of a violin and a viola, or a cello and a violin maybe. So you've got 5 strings. Okay, so let's start as a cello first. So we've got C string, G string, D string and A string, and then we're going to turn it into a violin as well. So C major has no sharps, okay, so your bottom string as a cellist, you know that has no sharps. That's C major, has no sharps. G major has 1 sharp, D major has 2 sharps, A major has 3 sharps, and E major has 4 sharps. Now, if you're a violinist, you just know 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have to remember that C is the string that you're missing. Okay, as cellists and viola players, you start at 0, and then you have 1, 2, 3, and then if you ever have to play an E major, you sort of remember that it's the string that you're missing. Okay, so that's like a quick cheat way of helping with your sharp key signatures. Okay, so we're not going to be worrying about any sharps and flats at the moment because we're in C major. So in our key signatures, we're not going to have any sharps or flats. It's just a blank canvas, and it is all the white notes on the piano. So let's just have a quick look at a C major scale. So a major scale, we have the first note, the second note, the third note. I'm just going to turn the printer off. I don't know, it's doing something very odd. Oh, it's stopped now. It's decided to clean itself in the middle of my lesson. How rude. Okay, so let me just find a C. C, okay. I'm going to play my imaginary piano. C, 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 C. Okay. Those of you that have learnt with me for quite a long time, when we do our scales, we often use do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Others of you aren't so comfortable with using that, so using the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we call them the degrees of the scale might be a better way of doing it. So we have do is 1, re is 2, mi is 3, fa is 4, sol is 5, la is 6, ti is 7. We're back to do is 1 or 8. So between 1 and 8 we have an octave, C to C. Okay, if we're in C major or do to do, whatever key that we're in. And we know, I've put these little funny hats on for 3 to 4 and 7 and 8. In a major scale, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 are always close together. Or if you're using do and mi, do, re, mi and fa and ti and do are always close together. Okay, so even if you don't play the piano, I would suggest it's really important that you learn where a bit of piano geography, where the notes are. So on a piano you have 3 black notes and 2 black notes in a pattern. If you find the 2 black notes, the D is in the middle, okay? And then the white notes get labelled alphabetically going down and back. So once you can find a D, you can go C, B, A, G, F, or you could go C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so we're going to transfer that pattern onto our C major scale, which I've lost again. There we go. C. Okay, so 1 is C, 2 is D, 3 is E, 4 is F. These are the close ones. 5 is G, 6 is A, 7 is B, and 8 is C. And these two are close together, okay? So on the piano it's really easy because you just play the white notes. Now what you'll notice is on my piano here that I've drawn, I haven't made the black notes look little. I've made them look just as important as all the white notes because they are. That pattern is something that you can transfer onto the piano really easily, but you just have to remember that the white notes and the black notes are just as important as each other in the pattern, okay? But just for the moment, C major is all the white notes, and if you're not a pianist, I would suggest you take a little photo of this or do this bit of the video in front of a piano and just play through C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, playing the notes so that you get a feel for how they fit on a keyboard, because I'm afraid music theory is very much based on keyboard logic, not string logic, okay? So now we're going to have a go. Some of you have learned how to play F naturals and C naturals. If you haven't, then just miss out the notes that you haven't learnt. But I think most of us as violinists have learnt a low 2 so that we can play F naturals. And I think cellists, I think you've probably learnt doing a second finger instead of a third finger. Okay, so I'm going to just play a scale of C major through as a violinist, and then I'm going to play it through as a cellist, and you're going to have to excuse my cello playing. Okay, so we find a third finger on the G string, that's our starting note, okay, and we're going to do third finger on the G string, C, open D, first finger on the D string, E, snuggle your second finger in, F, so that's mi and fa, and note number 3 and note number 4, they're close, okay, so our semitone, okay, G, third finger on the D string, A, first finger on the A string, B, and then snuggle the second finger. Okay, so our fingers are always close together in the same way that the piano notes are close together to create that semitone. Okay, if that went a little bit fast for you, you want to revisit it, pause the video, go back and have a go at playing that on your instrument. Cellos. I haven't practiced this, so let's see how we go. We can do it, I think probably let's start in our lower octave because you're lucky, you've got a C string. So that's our C, then we have our first finger. For a D, then you put 3 fingers down. For an E, then a 4th finger is our F. G open string, first finger is an A. 3 fingers is a B. 4th finger is a C. Now, if you are more advanced as a cellist, you can choose whether you want to do up the next octave, or if you've learned thumb position and higher positions, you can go up here. Same for the violinists. If you want to practice your second position, and you've learnt that, play your C major scale in second position along with what I've done, or play it in third position along with what I've done. So there are always elements. Don't just think, because I know this already, I don't need to use this video to help me. You can always make yourselves up a level. So this, you can go back, look at the scale I just did with the violin, and then you can tune it starting with your first finger here, or you can tune it starting with your second finger here, or you can do the octave above in second position, or you can do the octave above in third position, or you can experiment with lots of different notes, okay? So that's our scale. We then pick out notes from that scale to that you did in music theory, and it's Mary called it a tonic triad, okay? Tonic is not just a drink that you drink, although I quite like that. Tonic is, I quite like a tonic at the end of the day, just a tonic. When it's like a nice sunny day, makes you feel at home, really like chilled. So tonic, I like to think of as like, I've arrived, I'm happy, it's my happy place. So the first note of a scale, the key note of the scale, so in this case it's C. I'm going to draw a big smiley face on my C, because it's our tonic and we're happy and that's where we like being, okay? So that's what the word tonic means. It is the note that is the key of the scale that you're in. So at the moment we're dealing with C major. So let's draw a C here. That's our middle C. Notice how, actually, I should have drawn these a little bit closer. That ledger line here is exactly halfway between that one there and that one there, okay? In piano music, they're drawn really far apart, so we don't really know that. But actually, if I just drew that line a little bit higher, like that, then we have F, we know F is here, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh look, G, we've got to the one that we know there. Okay, so that's what that ledger line is. It is actually the imaginary line that joins up the two clefs. And if you're a viola player, you're really lucky because that is your middle bit of your clef. Now viola players, I haven't drawn your clef in today and I'm very, very sorry, and I will remember to do that for next time. Okay, so we've got C, and we need to find C in our cellos. Now we could remember our rhyme, all cows eat grass, or we could find an F here and we could work backwards. So F, E, D, C. Now if I do this C here, that's the one that you probably do in your grade 1 music theory, and it's fine if you're a treble clef player normally and you're just coping with the bass clef. Deal with that C. That's the one that you can think about. It would be down here on the piano. It's the one below middle C. But as a cellist, if you're starting on your open C string, we need to go an octave below. So your C, let me get rid of that, is going to be down there. Yeah? Okay. So we've got our C's, that's our tonics. But we want a tonic triad. So tricycle, triangle, all have three wheels, 3 sides. So a triad has 3 notes. And the way that we make a triad is, a tonic triad is, we make a little snowman. So we have a little snowman there, and a little snowman there. I might give him some little eyes. There we go. And they look cute. He looks more like a bug actually. Okay, and then we're going to do the same for this one. Now do you notice if it's one of these notes that it starts in, all the other bits of the snowman are going to have like a little line going through them. And if it's one of those that start off, all the other notes are going to be ones of these notes. So this is a little one of these notes triads. Oh, I haven't done that very well, have I? Ledger lines need to be exactly the same distance as the other lines of the stave. There we go. 2. There we go. That's our really bass line. I'm going to take those bits off. Okay. So the notes that we have written are C, E, and G, and C, E, and G, and C, E, and G. Okay, so we have now got a tonic triad in C major. All sorts of jumbly words, but it is 3 notes that sound really nice together, and that when we start playing them together, they make up a chord. So C, E, I'm going to do a little heart above that one, and G. 1, 3, and 5 of the scale. And if you find a piano and you find C, E, and G, you can do some noodling along with those and make stuff sound really impressive, and everybody goes, wow, that's amazing, and then you realise that's what all pop music is. I didn't say that really. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add this information into the rhythm information that we've done. So again, this has gone on slightly longer than we'd normally have in a lesson. So if your brain's got a bit and you want to stop at this point and come back to this later in the week, absolutely fine, okay? But do remember to do the beginning of the warm-up every time you come back to it. Do the little bit of the beginning of the video and come back, because we do want to make sure that our bodies are all warmed up before we do any playing. So we are now going to make some harmony. We've got our rhythm section here, and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before. I'm going to do a 16-bar pattern, okay? I'm not going to put the metronome on this time because actually it will sort of override all of the harmonies that we want to be able to hear. Now I'm going to go really, really, really simple. I'm going to pick 1 note per rhythmic pattern. So I'm going to start off on a C for my A pattern, then I'm going to move to an E for my B pattern, then I'm going to move to a G for my C pattern, and then I'm going to move to a D for my other one. Probably should have called them 1, 2, 3, 4, shouldn't I? Otherwise we're going to get confused with the letters. Anyway, so I'm gonna pick 1 note per rhythm, and I'm going to change note when I change rhythm, and I'm going to stick to these notes in first position. So if you are feeling a little bit nervous about this, that's what you can do. You can play along with me. If you think, oh, I've got this, I'm okay with the rhythms, and I'd like to do a bit of improvisation on different notes, still stick to C, E, and G for the moment, okay? But you could change note per beat if you wanted to. You could pick 2 notes, and you could go... Yeah? Or you could change the pattern as you went through. Okay? So just pick 2 notes. What I'd suggest is you start with 1 note, play it through once, stop the video, go back. Next time you do it, play it with 2 notes. Next time you do it, try it with 3 notes, okay? And be a bit more brave about how quickly you change the notes, okay? But again, the main thing is that we keep our sense of pulse and ensemble, and we start together and we finish together, okay? So this is the last thing we're going to do today. It's going to be a 16 bar sort of pattern. As I said, I'm going to stay really, really simple, and you can follow me if you want to, or you can have experiment of using 2 notes or 3 notes over the top, but you know yourself, if you get a bit lost, go back to simple, okay, and come back again, okay? So this is the last thing we're going to do today. I'm going to count us in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I will see you at the end. And when we finish, we need to do a big flourish together so that we feel happy that we've what we've achieved. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. And change. And change. And change. Did you finish with me? How did you find that? If you just copied me that time, you might want to come back another day and start experiment with using a C and an E for each rhythmic pattern and keep it the same. And then another day, come back and experiment with 3 notes, okay? If you're a more advanced student, you can really start experimenting with different octaves. But the main thing I want you to do is stick with these simple rhythmic patterns and make sure that your ensemble is really, really tight with beats that I'm playing, okay? Right, so you may have done that in lots of different chunks. You might have listened to it all the way through and stuck with me for a whole hour. Oh my goodness, sorry. Either is fine. I would suggest small bite-sized chunks is definitely the way forwards. Come back and revisit things during the week or for however long you want. This is going to be on my YouTube channel. It's going to be string class C major, okay? So we're doing 4-beat rhythms, C major scale, explained. And then next time we're going to be doing 3-beat rhythms and we're going to be doing G major, and we're going to be combining C major and G major together in our improvisations. And we will build it up throughout the keys that you cover in your grade 1 theory syllabus, and some more complicated rhythms that will help with your sort of echoing that you're doing in oral, okay? So hope you guys are doing really well. Please, please, please remember your warm-ups, and please remember to keep those listening skills going, play along with videos, really think about your timing, your phrasing, the sound that you're making, all right? Lots of love, take care, bye.